I've been playing a lot of Sonic Adventure 2 recently, and it's been a blast. But one thing has been lingering in my head though. Why Shadow? I don't mean it in a bad way, but we already had a rival for Sonic in the form of Metal Sonic established in universe, who people forget was in Sonic Adventure. And on top of that, why Rouge? What inspired her and Shadow's designs and personalities, I wonder? This really piqued my interest, so today I thought it'd be cool if we check out the development of Shadow the Hedgehog and Rouge the Bat. So before I go throwing a bunch of cool facts at you guys, I think we should establish some background info as to why they were even included. Coming strong post-Sonic Adventure, director Takashi Iizuka really wanted to emphasize the story in this unannounced sequel to SA1, really expanding the narrative powers the first game had, building the foundation for the great story we ended up getting. Sonic Team wanted this game to be what Sonic 2 was for the Genesis, a complete refinement and overhaul of the previous game.
I still remember what I promised you. For the people of this planet, I promise you revenge!
As we know, SA2's main story theme revolves around the dichotomy between good and evil, and Iizuka really wanted to illustrate this with the inception of a dark Sonic, who would fill the role as a dark anti-hero figure, similar to Sonic in shape but not in personality. With this idea in mind, Iizuka gave the character designers Yuji Iwakawa and Kazuyuki Hoshino the task of coming up with the final design of the character. They drew a large amount of concept art for the then named Terios, which was derived from the Japanese verb teresu, which means to compare with or to shine on, and would quickly evolve into the name we all know and love, Shadow the Hedgehog. Although Terios is a cool name, Shadow fits perfectly, especially when you look at the definition of the word, partial darkness or obscurity within a space from which rays from a source of light are cut off by an opaque body, or reflected image, which in story fits the character perfectly as Shadow is shrouded in obscurity and mystery throughout the whole game. And going off that definition of the rays of light being the true good in him from his promise to Maria, or his misguided sense of what he feels is right, and obviously a reflected image being in reference to Sonic. Anyways, Shadow's design went through a lot of very different evolutions, starting with these two pieces which were posted by the Sonic Twitter. They gave him some real long droopy quills, a headset for some reason, and these real bug alien looking eyes that remind me a lot of the security helmet from Halo. This then would change into the I didn't comb my hair today design, giving him a more anamorphic hedgehog look than the previous two, along with ditching the turtle beaches and getting a chain on his glove, which seems like a very early prototype for his inhibitor rings. Another set of pieces Shadow got were these two where he's now rocking a giant scar covering his right eye in both of these, along with the one on the right where he got these super long quills and some jewelry on his hand. He also had these two which I found kinda interesting, giving him a cowl in both, and in this one giving us a full body shot showing his metal collars on both his gloves and boots. Or this one, which looks a lot more like Sonic with a side profile pointing towards the camera. Throughout Shadow's development, the team toyed with the idea of whether he should have a missing eye or not, and then thankfully decided his visuals should parallel Sonic's above anything else. There was also a compilation of designs that were shown at Sonic's 25th anniversary party, which was held at the big amusement park in Tokyo called Joyopolis. I found these super awesome as how radically different they all are compared to Shadow's final design. The top two, which were done by Hoshino, and are very similar to some of the previous ones we went over, with the additions of a Sonic Boom-esque red bandana and eyes to match. While there was no official statement on who drew which pieces, I think it's safe to say that the scarred-looking concepts were Hoshino's work, while the bottom two were done by Iwakawa. And what's really interesting is especially in the bottom right, where Iwakawa gave him the one red eye in the red, yellow, and black color scheme that's synonymous with Shadow nowadays. In regards to Shadow's color scheme, according to Hoshino, his red stripes were actually inspired by traditional Japanese kabuki makeup. It's pretty neat how all four of these designs feature this color scheme in at least some aspect, or the rather normal looking design on the bottom left, going with the yellow gloves instead of the red. And shockingly, gave him both pupils in this compared to like all the other ones we've gone over so far.
Okay then, it's a deal. I don't think we've been introduced. I'm Rouge the Bat, but you can call me Rouge.
Unfortunately, there isn't nearly as much information known about Rouge's development, except she was originally called Nails, and from the get-go she was going to be a spy/jewel hunter whose true motives were ambiguous through most of the game. It's kind of an interesting tidbit that I don't really have anything to back up with, but Rouge's upgrade called the Pick Nails could be a little Easter egg reference of her prototype name. Just food for thought though. Rouge did have some really awesome concept art from Iwakawa, which all came from the 25th anniversary official art book that I unfortunately didn't have direct access to, so shout out Parka Blogs for flipping through it on video. Let's start with these two pieces that are radically different from the final product, with Rouge having no bat wings surprisingly, some wild hairstyles, and ear piercings, which didn't see the light of day in her final design obviously. These other two were a bit more in line with her final design, where she's got actual bat wings this time, along with the piercings and a Santa sack to signify her being a jewel hunter I imagine. Something else that I found really cool was that in the GameCube port of SA2, aka SA2 Battle, Rouge has an alternate costume that's unlocked after A ranking all of her missions. It's called the two-piece in-game, but seems to be a reference to her concept art designs with the tank top and shorts. There's also this full detail sketch of her final design, which is, well, I think it's worth noting that while Takashi Iizuka came up with the idea for Shadow, and Yuji Iwakawa actually drew Shadow, the arguably most important player in Shadow and Rouge's creation was Shiro Miyakawa, the lead and only writer for Sonic Adventure 2, who worked with Sonic Team starting with SA1 as a field designer, and would write for Sonic Team till 2009, where he was an uncredited story writer for Sonic and the Black Knight. This guy took the awesome concepts and designs for Shadow and Rouge and truly fleshed them out into the iconic and beloved characters they are today. Cause as we've seen most recently, just because you have a cool design does not mean you make a compelling character.
I am not weak.
There was an interview done by the good old Sonic channel back in what I assume was 2006, since he references working on Sonic 06 at the time. This interview was asking him about working on the story of SA2, and I thought this excerpt was really interesting, just showing how much Miyakawa really cared about Shadow and making him so awesome. When Miyakawa was asked, inside the Sonic series, which character do you like the most? He responded with, "It is Shadow the Hedgehog. In reality, I'm also his creator, but there are times when I feel the stronger bond than my true relatives. I cannot think of others anymore." And then he jokes, "I'm unable to use Chaos Control though." Along with this other excerpt I thought would be cool sharing, where he's talking about the birth of Shadow and the creation of the iconic Faker cutscene, where Miyakawa answered, "No, it was a very difficult delivery because it was a proposal that created a character who is similar to Sonic, or is cool beyond that. The order called, the Black Hedgehog had been decided. But it took a considerable amount of time until this guy started to talk inside my mind. One late night, when I was thinking about the lines of the confrontation scene of Sonic vs. Shadow inside my car returning home from work, after Sonic said, 'I found you, Faker,' when Shadow responded for the first time,
Faker, I think you're the fake hedgehog around here.
I felt it has come for the first time. From the tone of the voice that had come to echo in my mind at the time, I feel that Shadow's personal pronoun had been decided to be Boku naturally. This personal pronoun Boku of Shadow is very popular to women, but I remember that there are many disagreeing opinions inside my team in the beginning. However, because I myself treated Shadow as an image that is a very subtle and pure character, this Boku was a part that I could not throw away. I personally didn't know what Boku meant, so I did some research, and in Japanese, and in the Japanese version of this scene, it's an expression used by men generally to describe themselves in a humble manner as a servant or boy, which makes sense in the context of the story, as Shadow believes himself to be a servant to Gerald Robotnik, his creator. The whole interview was incredibly interesting and 100% worth the read if you're a fan of SA2 like myself. As always, check the description as I'll link all my sources there. As a tidbit, Miyakawa drew all of the SA2 storyboards by himself, including this one from the iconic Faker scene we were just talking about, along with self-teaching himself drawing and scripting. That's insane! Sonic Team kept Shadow and Rouge under heavy lock and key until E3 2000, where Sonic Adventure 2's first trailer was shown, giving the public their first look at Shadow and the lingering question of, who could this mysterious guy be? Sega would be silent on the news about Shadow till the last day of the Sonic Team Festival on October 1st, 2000, where these screenshots became available. Still not name dropping Shadow yet though, just ramping up the hype even more. On a quick side note, a neat thing I noticed in the E3 trailer was that Sonic was on Skyrail, and in the final product of SA2, that's a Shadow stage. So somewhere down the line, they must have swapped the stage from Sonic to Shadow, and also the stage music fits more with Sonic's discography in this game compared to Shadow's music discography. So kinda interesting. Anyways, Sega continued to stay relatively silent after this, only with a short trailer coming with a demo of City Escape that was bundled with the release of Phantasy Star Online. Although Sega was able to keep quiet, unfortunately the toy company Resource couldn't hold the same mannerisms, as Shadow and Rouge were officially name-dropped and leaked in a press release of a new wave of Sonic Adventure figures. These figures would obviously never see the light of day, as the company went under shortly after the incident. I wonder why. April of 2001 is when the media rollout began for SA2, where Rouge would be officially revealed, and Shadow would be shown off a bit more. It was really interesting to me when researching all of this, as originally, before the official media rollout, SA2 was only supposed to feature Sonic, Knuckles, Eggman, and Shadow, with Tails and the rest of the established cast getting the back burner to almost not being included in the game period to build hype for the newcomers Shadow and Rouge. So much so that producer Yuji Naka, the head creator of the franchise, when asked if Tails was going to be in the game, let alone playable, outright said he wouldn't be in the game, or he gave a wait-and-see approach depending on the interview. Once the rollout in April did happen though, Sonic Team also confirmed Tails would be in the game, this time in the mech to counterbalance Eggman. It's kinda interesting to think Tails was almost not playable, or in the game period, since how big of a part he plays in the story. I imagine if he wasn't playable, he would have at least been given the SA2 Amy treatment where he was still story relevant. Well, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys found this video on Shadow and Rouge's development as interesting as I did researching it. I was a little bummed to see there wasn't as much documented history about Rouge, although she's a big player in this game, but I guess it kind of makes sense most of the attention was focused on Shadow. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the next one, and if you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
I don't show off, don't criticize. I'm just living by my own feelings, and I won't give in, won't